Morning. We'll get started in just a minute. I'm just waiting on people to trickle in here.
How are you?
Doing good, doing good. All right. This is your first time here in your training. I definitely recommend being on a computer just so you can see the computer view. As if you're on a phone, you're not going to be able to really follow along as the phone view is different from the computer view. So I'm gonna be making calls as I had mentioned. I'm gonna be making calls so y'all can see how I make calls and maybe you can learn something new. And then I want to hear some other people make calls as well. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna set up a filter. So I want you to pay attention as to how I think when I set up filters, and then we'll go from there. Sunny, and a couple other people to get in here. So we're just waiting on Sunny and then I'll get started. So Trisha, I see you've made 132 connections. Sunny, 15. Abdul, 332. George, 329. Mahmoud, 177. Yusuf, 252. Okay. Welcome, John. Welcome, welcome. This is going to be a long Zoom session, so y'all are free to come in and out. Welcome, Sunny. Okay. All right. So first thing I'm going to go over, I want to get on the phones and make some dials. It's been a minute. I always like getting on the phones. That way y'all can hear how I handle conversations, how I overcome objections naturally. I'm gonna start doing these a couple times a week. That way y'all can, do some live calls with me and, we can all critique each other. We could talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. So the first thing I'm going to do is set up a filter. Today, I actually want to go into the Redford area. We have a house over there and I kind of forgot about that zip code. So we're going to go over to that side of town, which that zip code is 48239. Let's wait for this Zoom user to connect their audio. Is that Jahan? The Zoom user, if you want to go ahead and unmute yourself or put in the chat so we know who you are.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm driving right now, so I don't want too much noise to be going on while you're talking.
Okay, that's Jahan, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Sounds good, man. You can go ahead and mute yourself. All right, y'all. So, like I mentioned, I'm gonna go ahead and hyper focus on the Redford, Detroit, Parkland area. Depending on how you look at it, it's actually Detroit now. So we're gonna go over to 48239. So we're gonna see how much data I have in that area. So we're gonna go up here to filter. And I'm gonna go ahead and select property zip code. And we're gonna do the 48239. So before I do an additional filter, I just want to see how much data we have in that zip code. So we have 13. So you can see I need to probably hyper focus on that area because it's a really, really good area. But what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to go, even though this website is not live yet, it will be soon. So y'all can reference it. But right now it's in development still. But just for the sake of training, I want to see what those other neighborhoods are up near that. So let's see here. Redford. Oh, drawing a blank right now. 22516. So that's going to be that's Old Redford, right? Oh, now here we go. Okay, yeah, so I was in the right area. So Warren Avenue, okay. So let me go back here, go down to Warren. Here we go. So far west Detroit. So I need to go into this area here and get this dialed in. So let me go here. That's where we're going to focus today. So the 48217. And we're also going to go into Warrendale, which is the 48228. All right, so I'm going to add in those zip codes as well. So we're going to go up here to property zip code 48217, 48228. And if I wanted to, I can also add in some of these surrounding ones like West Outer Drive neighborhood. Let's see what zip code that one's in. So that's in the 48239 as well, which we already added that one. We can also add in Franklin Park, which I believe that's the 48228. Yeah, so we're good. So let's just stick with those ones. That's a very sought after area, this little pocket right here. And let's apply that filter, see how many records we got. So we got 1,034, so that's a decent amount. So now I'm gonna go over here to filter. I don't wanna call leads that have already been talked to. So I'm gonna do property last status. There we go. Property last status is not. Go ahead and select these. So what this is telling the system is I do not want records that have these dispositions attached to them, because that would imply that they have already been called by one of our other team members. The next filter, I want complete records only. So we're going to go to record type equals complete. And then phone type is mobile. They got to have a mobile line in there. If it's just landlines, skip it. So property zip code, property last status, record type, phone type. And then the most important one is going to be in leads, which we're going to get to. That's why you always got to be careful what you click. So now I got to do this again. So I'm going to go property last status is not, select all of them. Phone type is mobile. And then the most important, record type. And then in leads. So we're going to go record type is complete. In leads, no. So we're going to go ahead and click apply filter. Once you apply your filter for the day, you're going to want to save that filter just for safekeeping so you can go back to it later. But now that you see I did that, now I brought it down to 111 records. So I could start with those 111 records. And then once those 111 records are finished, I can then go on to the next, which that's what I'm going to do. But typically, if I wanted to do a whole day's worth of dialing, I would want to add a couple more zip codes and get this to about 500 to 1,000 records. That way I have a full day's worth of dials I can make in a very, very sought after area. So if I saw it was at 111 after filtering out all the ones that have already been called, which you can see last call status, none of these have been called before. So then I would just go back to the Rebuild Detroit website and I would say, okay, I want to stay in this area. I got buyers that want this area here. So you can say, okay, let me go and add in maybe Joy Community. This is the 48227. So we didn't add the 48227. So I can go up here and I can add the 48227. Apply that filter. Now that brought it up to 584 records. And we're still staying in that pocket. We're still staying in this west side pocket where all the Arab buyers like to stay. You get something in this area at the right price, we got a lot of buyers for it. Like you saw the one yesterday. Got it over here, had it sold 30 minutes later. A guy from Dearborn Heights that buys from us all the time, he's like, man, that's my backyard. You have to sell it to me. It's like, well, we got to work it out. And he bought it 30 minutes later. So if you get something in this area, it's in much more demand than something over on the east side over here. Like if you get something up here in Regent Park, yeah, that's good. Regent Park, fire. Mohican Regent, fire. But down below it, garbage, 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 garbage. You don't want nothing over here unless it's in these two pockets right here. These, I can have it sold in 30 minutes. But these, that's the 48205. That's the most dangerous pocket of Detroit right here. Investors really don't like touching it. Down here, at the right price, fire. But it's got to be for the right price. And it's got to be close to Mack Avenue. Why has it got to be close to Mack Avenue? Because across the street is Grosse Pointe. That's the uppity rich folk. So the closest you stay to Mack Avenue right here, so like the 2000 block, the 3000 block, but as soon as you start getting into the 4000 and the 5000 block of Morningside and East English, it's not good. So that's like 90% of the east side is not good. The 10% is the top and the bottom. So we don't really like focusing our energy over there. We like focusing our energy over on the west side where we know it's going to sell from 6 Mile all the way up to 8 Mile. It's going to sell if we get it for the right price. So I'm going to stick with the 48227, 48217, 48239, and 48228. But I'm going to go ahead and remove, just for the sake of training, I'm going to go ahead and remove 48227. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove that, and then we're gonna get to dialing. So this will be my list for the day. Everyone should have their own list. Eventually, you want to get to the point where you're switching up your list every day and trying out different ones on the west side. But that'll be, once you get a little more comfortable with setting your filters. So if this is what I wanted to dial, I would apply that filter and save the filter. Once you apply it, you can then save the active filter. So if I wanted this to be Sean filter, only you can see this. So once you save it, only you can see it. So then you would go up here to save filters and click on the filter that you want to turn on. So if I want to turn on any of these filters, I would just click on it and it would automatically adjust accordingly. So we're going to go ahead and get started now. The first one I'm going to call is going to be James Broadnax. So before I start dialing, does anyone have any questions on this screen and how I set up those filters? And no question is a stupid question. I know with y'all, someone has to start the questions before others feel comfortable asking a question, like I'm gonna bite you or something. So if you got a question, just feel free to ask. That's what this meeting's for.
And Tevin, what CRM is this again?
This is REsimpli.
REsimpli. Okay.
Yep, this is REsimpli.
And okay. And I'll have access to that so I can kind of play around in it and get acclimated. Okay.
Absolutely. And this is recorded as well.
Okay, good.
Now just kind of watch how I use it, how I flow with it, because it's a lot. It's a lot.
Okay.
A lot to learn, trust me. So we're gonna go ahead and get started now since everyone's pretty, used to these filtering. Joshua, Jonathan, Munu, y'all are good with these filters?
Yeah, I went through it the other day and made sense. The only thing that tripped me up is just the tagging or the drip part, but I think I got it figured out.
Yep. And then you're doing Pontiac. So in this case, instead of doing a property zip code, you would want to do city, property city, and then you would want to select
Yeah.
Pontiac and then apply that filter and it should have all those for you. Because I have these zips, it's trying to find properties with the zip and Pontiac. So that's why
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
cool, cool, cool. All right, so we're going to start with James Broadnax. I'm going to show you my process. Remember, y'all, even if I don't get them on the phone, that doesn't mean they won't message me in a week, or they won't call me back in a month, or 3 months, or 9 months. So you want to make sure, even if you don't talk to them, that you build your own pipeline. I can't tell you how many deals I've closed because they messaged us in the 6th or 7th month. They were finally, at the point where they hear from us every month. It's almost like we're their friend at that point, you know. So I'm gonna show y'all how to set that up. So I'm gonna go over here to actions, and I would push to lead, but I don't want to do that right now. I want to call it other. All right, hang on, y'all. I see a small little thing there. Why is it saying is? All right, so let me do is not. I don't want any of these. Let me see if that would get rid of that issue there. Okay, cool. So don't do phone type is mobile. Instead, do phone type is not these, because we don't want to message anything that's not like a mobile line, because it's only going to cause you issues. Okay. So let's go over here and call this first one here. So now I can see it's all mobiles. This is exactly what I look for. If I want to build a pipeline of drip campaigns and none of the drips deliver because I'm not sending them to a mobile line, you're just spinning your gears and wasting your time. And time is everything in this game. You want to work easier, not harder. So I'm going to start this dial session right here. I'm going to click on call. It'll bring up this screen. If this is your first time, make sure you choose your number right here. We have a lot of numbers. I did recently, like yesterday or the day before, resubmit these numbers to all of the carriers. So the spam likely, for the numbers that do show spam likely, that gets rectified. But just go ahead and pick one of these if none of the numbers are selected. So you could pick that first one, or you could pick a 313. Doesn't really matter. Go ahead and click continue. All right, so a few little things I like to point out. Before we call her, I want to point out a few things. So we can see that this is not in leads yet. So once it's in a lead, you can activate the drip campaign. This is inside of the list stack. Think of the list stack like our master database. We haven't talked to them yet. In a lead, that means we have attempted to talk to them or we did talk to them. That's what lead would be. But the master database has everything, even before we talk to them. So right now, this is inside of the master database. It's not inside of our leads. There's no automation assigned to this yet. So if you want this Redford house, which is a really good house, this is like an exact copy of the one I sold yesterday, if not better. So if you want this to potentially reach out to you in the future, you want to make sure you do what I'm going to show you now. So the first thing I like to do is I like to activate. If this was me, the first thing I would do is I would activate a drip campaign. I'm going to call them anyways, but let me go ahead and get the drip out of the way. So I'm going to go ahead here to select campaign, cold calling, and I'm going to do this prime time long-term drip. It has a ringless voicemail that automatically gets dropped into them. So you don't even have to send them a voicemail. It automatically puts a voicemail before you even call them. They're going to get a voicemail. So let's go ahead here. Yes. Would you like to add the tags? Yes. So in this case, you would add your tag. So Sean, some people have multiple tags, like Joshua. He's got 2 tags here. You see, he's got his name twice. So make sure y'all don't put your name twice. It's only going to cause headaches when you go to filter later. Then you got to choose both. And REsimpli really doesn't let you delete these. So we got to put a support ticket in, and it just causes problems. So I created one called Josh just so he knows which one to use. But make sure y'all only put your name once. So in this case, Sean, once I type it, it'll pop up every time now. So it won't do it now because I'm still on the screen, but trust me, once you do it, it'll pop up every time. So I'll just do mine for now. Once you save that, it's now inside of leads, okay? You'll see that in a second. In leads, yes, under new leads. And it has that drip campaign activated on it. Now I'm gonna go ahead and call her, okay?